Thank you, Lewis. I just want to say, kind of for the record, after hearing some of the stuff here, that I absolutely have decided not to run for the Senate. I will look forward to helping with that. Basically, with the school board, there's three main things that we're responsible for. Of course, that's the policy, budget, personnel, not the direct day-to-day with the personnel. The superintendent will make recommendations. We ask our questions and kind of go on from there. But just kind of going over where we've come so far. And it's kind of neat, too, just kind of looking around the room. It wasn't too many years ago. I remember when Barry would come and visit where I worked and stuff, and we wouldn't let him go, and just watching the grassroots, how it's grown. And if you look at all the offices now, I'm looking over the different people, and most of them all started with the party. So, thanks for all that vision from way back. But anyway, our first, of course, order of business with our policy and stuff is to elect a chair and vice chair, and Davis Nelson is our chairman. I was elected as vice chair. Appreciate that. The main difference in responsibility, really, with the board, it takes three because there's 5 on there. So there's a lot's, I guess, is given to, the positions and stuff there, but really you need three votes to do anything. So, but I understand, why he was elected. Because of his past offices and this and that. And I was honored to be elected as vice chair, being a new member, because from what the GSBA said, that's kind of a rare thing, although we did it the last the last election here in Bartow. But after the election of that, the thing that drew the most attention was policy changes. From getting a lot of feedback from different people off the first one, the agenda and the supporting documents were posted in January, and I guess the public being able to see that, got several emails, and and some of the most common comments were, well, why is there that 30-minute window? You have to get off work at 5. It's hard to make that 5:15 to 5:45 and all that. So when that part came up, I asked that to be pulled off the agenda so that we could discuss it. And out of that, we added to where you could electronically sign in or email to make that easier for the public participation. I wish I could take credit for that, but that was really the constituents sending me, comments and that. Anna, just from in the past of trying to get to the board, before she was on the board for public participation, it was an issue on timing, so she wanted to put it further out on that. And that does sound good, but I'm kind of rethinking that a little bit, because you do want to be able to hear what's going on. You may want to discuss something before, but anyway, I'm having some thoughts on that. Let's see, just kind of looking here. One of the big things that came up that the public wanted to discuss, we had several emails, and we do live in a really good community, caring, and all kinds of people, because of the thing that happened in Connecticut, and that people's security is a really big concern. There were some that spoke on that. Well, it just so happened, not long after that meeting, Floyd County School System had a forum on security with all the relevant players, from all the law enforcements to the school systems to some of the state agencies, and it was really good. We got a lot of good takeaways, and I do want to make the comment that the school system they do drills, they do all kinds of things, but we all know we can always, improve, and that was discussed at this last February meeting. The budget, as of the budget in January, I've got a copy here if anybody wants to look at it. Now, this is a detailed budget, which I know is what most people would like to see, but it's really good. We're 1.5% under budget as far as on the as far as January, and some other documentation I think y'all would be interested in. I'm one of the people that want to go to 100% Freeport, which I do believe, I think there's a consensus that the school board wants to go that way too. While it's the commissioner that does that, we have a really good commissioner that won't do anything to hurt education, and he wants us to ask him, which I respect that, and I think that's a great idea. So we got the figures on how much we actually get from Freeport. As far as the county schools, because of the 80% exemption, we get $171,789. So you're not talking really a lot of big dollars. and it really wouldn't affect this year, but of course I would like for us to recommend to the commissioner to go to 100% Freeport, because what that does is, well, first make some comments with Bass Pro Shop coming in, the Lake Point and all that, the revenues that we have that will be coming in because of the taxes and stuff will be more than this amount. So what that also allows is our existing manufacturers to be more profitable, and it also allows our economic development, like Melinda Lemon, for example. One of the things that, and they do a good job, but if we could give them all 5 fingers instead of 4 fingers, we wouldn't be taken off the lists when people come to town and to look at us and that. And I really believe we have a good story to tell. We have water, we have interstate, we have rail, we have all kinds of great things. And I think the way to get out of this, and this is why I oppose the raising of taxes, is we need to get out of this through growth, in my opinion. Let's see. Let's see, on the last meeting we had, there was an issue with, I guess, posting the supporting documents on there. The agenda was posted, I guess, that Friday, and places like Bartow Politics, for example, post those so people can look at it and come prepared for public participation. And I got an email from Bartow Politics on that. So anyway, I started calling other board members, and keep in mind, one of the issues, in my opinion, with school boards is we're under a lot tighter scrutiny than any other offices. For example, I've been to Senate trusts and this and that, and where there's been more than 30 senators, and they can talk freely and all that. Well, we don't have that option. If there's more than 2 anywhere, because we're a 5-member board, we have to make sure we invite the media and the public and all that. So communication on just some simple things, it's really tough. Like we were at an FCA meeting, you know, we had, you know, 3 of the board members sitting there, and you just want to just a quick question just about something, but you know, you're worried about violating the law and all that, so you don't ask. And then there's the potential to get out there, and you may have what you think is a really great idea, and you get out there and you throw it out, and then somebody, you know, like Lewis or Mike or somebody says, well, did you ever think about whatever? And you're like, oh man, that was stupid. But it's nice when you can have that free communication going around. And I'm not saying vote on things in secret, but it would be nice to be able to discuss some of these matters, in my opinion, to prevent some of the things that happen with school boards there. But anyway, this is what he sees. And what I'm looking at here, I got some questions from the newspapers, so I thought this might just be good just to kind of read what some of my answers were. It says, as an active member of the community, what would you do to bring to post 4? And basically I said this community is really good. They always want to help you. They just need to be asked. And, you know, I included, a lot of times, some groups aren't, but I talked about how business, industry, churches, Chamber of Commerce, media, party, etc. Will all help how they can, and you need to include them in there. And some great examples where the community came in where we were able to do things that other communities weren't. One good example is the College and Career Academy. I mean, when the Lieutenant Governor came, you had not only all of our representatives and stuff there, but you had the businesses, the industry, churches, parents, and etc. And that showed a lot of support. Things we do well when asked is like the Bartow County Reality Store. Brenda with Century Bank does a great job of organizing and help getting that together. And what that is, that's actually the community coming out together, volunteering and setting up a reality today. Kids, when they, I guess, pick their careers, like what college degree, where are they at in like 5 years, here's their income, and the first table they go to is taxes, you know, and they go, and it's really interesting. People will have this career that they think they're going to love, like, and it ends up paying like, you know, $30,000 a year, and then the real world hits when they have to start having these payments and all these other bills and food, and they go back around, they're having to get second jobs. And what it does is it shows them the importance of picking the right career from the beginning, and that's good. And they also, the community does this image and review day to help people prepare for that. Another example is the Bartow Education Foundation. I think it was last year was their biggest year ever. And I know the year before that they'd raised like $90,000, and this money goes for like teacher grants. It's not limited to teachers. Somebody can come up with an idea. Like, for example, there was this one teacher came up with the idea of a greenhouse. She had special needs students, and and the scores and how the stuff turned out with them. She also got some support from some other local folks to donate stuff, but it really seems to work very, very, very well, and that's all money just privately donated by the community. And I didn't put it in here. Anna has some really neat ideas that I'd like to see us discuss more too, of bringing in revenues more through the kind of the private sector, some things that she had done when she was working for Georgia State. And I see our speakers here, so I will trim this down a little bit. I won't have to read this whole book, but but if you would like to, see anything on the budgets or anything's on the, the policy changes, that kind of thing. And the neat thing is, I need to mention too, the reason I didn't pull off the policies on the last meeting, because I had several requests to do that. Under our policy, it says you're supposed to post the agenda and the supporting documents, and even though it was late and really nobody really would have had time to read those, but they were posted before the meeting, but for too late of that. But with that, there were several readings before that, so people can come to the next meeting and say something, come to the next meeting and say something. But so I went ahead and moved those forward. But anyway, appreciate it. I hope I didn't bore you too much. Yes, sir.
I've got a question.
Yes, sir.
In every discussion I've ever heard about Freeport exemption, I get the impression that the option is either like 80% or 100% or 80% or something. Mm-hmm. Is there any mechanism where you can propose that it be increased incrementally per year? In other words, 80% this year, 85, 90, 95 to 100?
Actually, and I see people leaning forward in their seats like, say, very like doing this and that. Isn't it correct the commissioner decides that? And we actually been progressing that way as we go. Clarence did start doing that. I mean, I believe everybody realizes that the Freeport and the tax, the tax on those inventories it hurts our existing manufacturers. It hurts ones that.
I know, but can't we just do it in one fell swoop? In other words, instead of having to try to redo it with new people every year or whatever the process is, just go, okay, we're going to have a 4-year plan, and each year it's going up 5%, so that the budget doesn't get whacked all at one time, but you get the opportunity for Lake Point, Bass Pro Shops, and the skate thing to get online and revenues to be generated while this thing's going away.
Absolutely, the commissioner is the one that can do all this, and actually they have kind of done that over time, because they were worried, like you said, of doing it in the one, because everybody recognizes that we need to get rid of that tax on inventories. The ones I think, I don't have the percentages for the city. Now the city's the one that's going to get hurt more than the county there, because I believe theirs is a different percentage than ours. But,
they were in the paper.
Do what?
They said it was in the paper a couple of days ago where they had approved, I think, going to 80%, and then, but that's in 2014, and they have a plan to be down to 0 within a couple of years. So they're going along with the county as far as reduction, but I don't know if they're at the same time schedule we are. We need to get there first.
Yeah. I mean, it's very, very important, and really, just not looking at just the increased amount of revenue you would have just from the growth of the other commercial properties and such like that. You also have additional revenues just from the jobs that are created, and they're better paying jobs, or at least tend to be with the manufacturing, versus something like where Lake Point's a great thing and it's going to employ a lot of people. There won't be as many of the higher paying jobs. I mean, you'll have the managers, assistant managers, I'm sure quite a few others, but yeah, we definitely want that growth.
Fred?
Yes, sir.
Quick question, or comment first.
Sure.
Make no mistake. Go for the 100% quick if you can. But,
Right,
but the question is, do you see 2 other votes there pretty easily?
I actually see kind of on one-on-one, and this is where you kind of hate, where we just can't communicate at once, like, could you support this or that kind of thing, but it's kind of like past the secret. But the discussions, the biggest thing that came up, and I'm actually in favor of this too, which goes to Bruce's point, to have that trigger. Well, we know it won't be affected this year, so we're looking at 2014, and we know some of this other stuff's coming online. But you could put a trigger and just say, Steve, when this is online, we can go here, or we can go there. But I have to admire the man that, because he's not going to do anything that we think is going to hurt anything. So it's up to us, and it's just like the capital gains tax. You know, when Kennedy lowered them, Reagan lowered them, the revenues were vastly increased, and this is our capital gains, is the Freeport. So, in my opinion.
Well, my question is there any need for any grassroots pressure on somebody who seems to be on the wing if we're convinced that you need to go?
I don't think so.
Votes?
I don't think so at this
Okay.
point. You know, we just have to have an open discussion in a public forum, which we may can do at our next meeting on there. And I did learn this. Of course, people know me. I ask a lot of questions when I'm there, and it's real simple for us to put anything on the agenda. We just ask, and Dr. Harper puts it on there. Yes, sir.
Just to clarify, you said the county school system would only receives 170,000 currently. Is that
Well,
correct?
this is by 2012 numbers. Now, of course, you got to remember that that's the official documents
Okay.
there, and y'all can have a copy
Because
of that.
170,000 is
Right, 'cause
very
everything-
little in the.
Oh yeah, because I always had heard the 500,000 figure, which may have been that for for different
But
time
now,
frame.
if y'all don't want 170,000, I'll take it right now.
Well, but you gotta always look at the consequences of
Right.
that.
But just in the big scheme of things, that's
Oh no, that's just
that's
well, if you look-
nothing in that budget of 100 million.
You're exactly right. In fact, you're right, because I've got our budget here, and that's correct. Like, I think our total expenditures
Yeah.
to date's been like 106 million. Something like
So you could probably get one or two people to come because of that, and it would be more than make up.
that. Oh, absolutely. You get one manufacturer, you're light years ahead.
You know. And when's the one off Cassville, the new one off Cassville Road or whatever that egg?
Now, what are you asking me? I'm not sure.
When does it start?
When does it start?
Volstapine. Yeah, they've got a trailer out there now, Evans.
They've already started digging because I can't get down my
If we're talking, yeah, Evans is going to be the general contractor. They're hoping to be on site this next week, or if not, then the following. But yeah, it's kind of on a fast track, is my understanding. Now, I haven't talked to Philip and Oliver. They're great guys. That's the president, and I'm trying to remember Oliver's like operations with there. But they're really into community. They're showing up at events. They were really.
So if the timing's right, it could be a wash.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah.
They're laying sewer and gas lines out there already.
Right, and I'm not saying there's anybody on the board saying this, but I could see where, say, a board somewhere else or another county, where they would be looking at, well, we've got teachers on furloughs, they haven't had raises, and you do want to end the furloughs, and you do want to take care of your people on there, and there's different ways to get it. Historically, though, the conservative ways actually bring in more revenues there, so we can move towards doing that. And people have asked me, like, on the budget, and a lot of things we don't know until the federal gets their budget straight, then the state gets their budget straight, and then the school boards can do their thing. And one of the hard things that we have going for us is, I believe it's April 15th, we have to, by law, already tell the existing teachers if we're going to renew their contracts, etc. But we don't know what our money is yet. Now, they do put some kind of legal stuff in the contracts, or if we don't, or something like that. But the systems spend all this time, like trying to figure out these indicators. What are we going to get, and all that. But you could save time and money if we could get the legislator just to not make us have to do this before we know how much money we're going to get.
It's right there.
But anyway, I'll get. Oh, one. No, I won't go there. But anyway, I appreciate it. Appreciate y'all's support, and this really, when I was talking about kind of Barry and how everything's grown and seeing all these elected officials, that was one of the goals of Paul Coverdale, was the grassroots, where you see some parties, and I'll say like the Libertarians, for example, they're real focused on the president, but just seem to ignore most other things as a general rule. And for us to further our values and and our principals, you know, we need to have people at every level, and it looks like we've done this in Bartow, and hopefully it continues. Appreciate it. Thank you.